As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Nick Saban. Nick Saban is the winner of the week. He has offered an eighth grader from Louisiana, and I think he's got a good chance of landing that recruit. That eighth grader is like 6'2", 220 pounds. The video of him playing football in the eighth grade is insane. I believe he could play at Alabama today. His name is Keelan Moses. It's Dylan Moses' little brother. And if you've seen the video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the video of this kid, you need to find it. He looks like a college athlete playing football against eighth graders. And I am not exaggerating.
I am watching it right now. He has made approximately 7, 8, 9 guys miss. Oh, he's made guys miss twice now. He's running. He's running. He's running over people. He ran over another guy. Oh my, that run is just, um, yeah,
There's another
that's,
video of him in the seventh grade in like a one-on-one tackling drill. And I'm telling you, it looks like a Mike Backer in Division One college football. It's insane.
I would say just from the hair coming out of the back of the helmet and the aggressive nature, this is the comp I'm going with for this eighth grader. A very much, and I just watched one play. That was it.
Right.
Very much a Marion Barber feel to his
Okay.
game.
Amazing. Who knows? He may be peaking way too early here, which some people do, but since his brother's Dylan Moses, I would say that the chances of him panning out are probably going to be pretty good. Uh, Nick Saban's going to go ahead and get that offer out there in the eighth grade. Can you imagine being in the eighth grade and getting a scholarship offer from the the premier college football program in the country, Nick Saban? How unreal is that?
You're going to get to brag all of high school. Like, my recruitment's over. I'm going to Alabama. I don't know if you heard. He offered me
Think he's
when I
going to
was in eighth
commit?
grade.
He's going to commit 5 years out.
The the scary thing is Dylan Moses's brother. When he's there, Saban will still have like 3 years left on that new contract.
Oh yeah,
God,
that's right. I bet Saban tells him, "Don't even. I don't want you playing football. I just want you in the weight room, working out, staying healthy. We don't need you taking unnecessary shots, concussions, whatever. We need you bubble wrapped.
Nick
Don't even
Saban
play."
calling his freshman high school football coach. Yeah, he's got a carry limit of 12. Okay. Yes, sir, Mr.
I,
Saban. Yes,
I
sir.
can't imagine him being tackled 12 times in a football game. So I think his carry limit can be 3 or 4.
That clip is ridiculous.
They're
Okay.
all literally at like their helmets are below his shoulder pad level. It
And
looks like he's playing with
there's
like
several guys that miss him twice. God. Oh man, that's what Ted Lehman looked like back in the day out in
oh
Fort
please.
Gibson.
Unbelievable. That's hilarious.
All right, who do you have as your loser of the week?
Oh, I actually felt bad. The losers playoff P.
Mm.
Just I knew when he missed the first one he wasn't making the second one, right? It's like, come on, there's no way after that. Misses the 2 foul shots late. They fight the entire game. They finally get the lead right there. They're well under a minute. Hit a couple of foul shots, and you're in really, really good condition. And playoff P can't come through for them. I actually felt bad for the guy. It was terrible, terrible to watch.
So he misses the free throws, which is what everyone is going to talk about because whether you want to call him a playoff PP or what, there's lots of lots of puns of the playoff P name. But he also shot the ball horribly in that game. 1 of 8 from 3. I mean, so I know when you look at his stat line, you see the 26 points, but he took 23 shots to get there. He went 1 of 8 from 3, and then missed the 2 biggest free throws of the game. So, yeah.
Well, here's the deal. I know they don't have the best player on their team who's, arguably one of the top 1, 2, 3 best players in the league. And that puts a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Now, all of a sudden, he's drawing the top defender. It's tough, but, unfortunately, this is big boy basketball, and that's where you're going to be judged. And when it's all said and done, he makes over 30 million a year. It's not that big of a deal, but I did feel bad for him. It was a moment for him to kind of, regain some of that confidence and kind of show some people that he can do it whenever it's all kind of on the line. And he missed the 2 free throws, and he's a great free throw shooter.
Yeah, and the weird part about it was, well, he had the layup right there with 30-ish seconds to go, and then he hits the pull-up jumper, and you're like, oh man, Paul George is stepping up, and then he misses the free throws.
Well, I would say that it's the basketball gods, because Booker did not foul him. I hate that they called that on him, which, that's basketball and that's how it's going to be officiated. But my goodness.
I thought you were going to say it was the basketball gods because of that review. That's the stupidest thing. Like where they slow mo it.
Thunder before, and I feel like was it against the Spurs in a playoff game? It definitely happened against the Thunder before.
I want to say, and if we hadn't taken so many hits to the head, Ted, we could remember these things. It happened in it happened in a Final Four game too. I can't remember.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think it was Villanova. I don't know if it was, but it happened in like a Final Four or like the national championship game.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking it may have been either Chris Paul or Beverly whenever he was at Houston, or Chris Paul whenever he was the Clippers, that did it against us. But I've seen the same scenario before, and that is such a dumb rule. I mean, I understand in letter of the rule, it's off that guy's hand last. I don't know what you're going to tell the officials whenever everyone can see it in slow motion, but I think unanimously everyone agrees that that's a stupid call and it should be changed.
Yeah. The way I see it, it's someone that said this, and I can't remember who said it. I am really showing how great my memory is here. It's like if it happened in a pickup game, who would they say the ball was off? Like every single time that situation happened at any level of basketball without replay, it would be Phoenix's ball. Mm-hmm. You super slow mo. It's just stupid. And I loved how Jeff Van Gundy said it was stupid. That was like my favorite part of the broadcast.
Stupid. And he's like, well, he's the last one off him. He's like, well, yeah, but that's not the intent of the rule. And I agree. It's not, he caused the ball to go out. I don't know. We could discuss that all night, but the end of that game was, I know everyone's complaining about the reviews, but I thought it kind of built the tension and it helped some of the plays unfold.
I think I read somewhere that the last 2 minutes of that game lasted 33 minutes.
Yeah, brutal.
Which, jeez. So, Ted, for my winner of the week, I thought about going with Carl Nassib. He's a former teammate of mine, just a hilarious guy to talk to. A lot of people got a nice little look into him from Hard Knocks, and that's Carl, man. Like it's conversations like that with that man every single day in the locker room. But he comes out on Instagram, brought a ton of attention to the Trevor Project, which had me Google the Trevor Project, and they're doing some really good work. But He also cited some important stats about adults showing support and acceptance and how that can affect suicide attempts for LGBTQ kids. It was just cool. I thought it was really cool. It was kind of subtle, and it was so cool that people just started buying the hell out of his jersey, and he had the top selling jersey on Fanatics. But I know a lot of people are making it to be a really big deal, right? The first active, openly gay football player in the National Football League. And I like how he said, hopefully, someday this isn't a big deal. But I thought that was that was a big deal. It was. He didn't have to do it, and he did it. And there's going to be people that don't like it, and I don't really care about those people's opinion. But I'm just happy for Carl. Good guy. Glad he can live the life that he wants to live.
No, I agree 100%. Has to be for him, very I was just like a weight lifted off his shoulders, and I think that I almost disagree that it's not a big deal. Do you remember when Michael Sams at Missouri had came out, and before the draft, that was a huge deal that was talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks. And this thing was like, oh, great. And everyone, just giving support and kind of moved on. And you're always going to have people, obviously, that that have something negative to say, but I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any conversations out there from people that have an audience talking about, well, how's this going to be, looked at in the locker room, and are his teammates going to turn? I didn't see any of that stuff. So I would almost say that it's already not a big deal,
Right. It,
and
it was a big deal. He did it, but it's not a
yes,
big deal. Like it.
right. Like it's obviously a big deal for him to be able to do that.
Right.
Absolutely. But I think the response from people was like, oh, huh, cool, good for you,
And
great.
the people, I mean, the guys in that locker room, it's simple. Can you play or can you not? I don't
Yeah,
care. I don't care what race you are. I don't care about your sexual orientation. I don't care about your religion. It's, can you play or can you not? Can you help us win football games? And Carl Nassib can rush the damn passer.
yeah,
I mean, that's just the bottom line. So it was it it had felt for a long time like the NFL was ready for this, right?
yeah.
Teddy, you probably had guys on your team that you knew were gay. I've had guys on my teams that I knew were gay, and you just didn't really talk about it. It wasn't a big deal then, but I mean, I think it's important that if if you're talented enough to play in the league, like you should get to be who you are,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just I'm thrilled for Carl, and he's just so goofy, man. I mean, it's just so goofy, and that video was just so goofy. Him just hey, straight to the point. Hey, it's Carl Nassib. Oh, by the way, it was great, and I think it's going to mean a lot to a lot of kids because it's just something that we haven't seen anybody do before in that league.
Well, here's the thing: is um, there's always going to be really hateful people that say horrible things and are completely and totally intolerant. And they showed themselves whenever they found out he was a Republican.
I
You
saw,
know,
I saw that where
yeah.
people were like, I support this is awesome. Wait, he's a Republican?
I
I was
hope
like,
he dies. Yeah,
it
it's
was. Oh, I've talked some politics with Carl. Once again, he's an interesting guy, man. You can go down some deep rabbit holes with him, but happy for him. Happy for him. That's big time, and I'm glad that that'll set the precedent where, and like you said, like hopefully it's not a big deal moving
Yep.
forward, right? Hopefully it's all about what you do on the field, what you do in the community, that type of stuff. So, but my winner of the week, Ted, and I stayed away from it when you were talking about playoff P being your loser. My winner of the week's DeAndre Ayton. I feel like this guy has really changed the way people feel about him during these playoffs, especially. This was a guy that was the number one pick in a draft that had Luka Doncic and Trae Young. It wasn't too long ago that people were saying he was trash and that people were coming up with hypothetical trades to get him out of Phoenix. And in game 2 there in the Western Conference Finals, he has 24 and 14. He goes 12 of 15 from the field and has the game-winning dunk on an absolutely beautiful pass from Jay Crowder. What an awesome moment for DeAndre Ayton and the elevation of his level of play in the playoffs. I mean, it has been really, really impressive. And he is one of the guys, as I've watched basketball this season, especially the playoffs, where I've completely changed my opinion of him. I used to think, he's a big guy. He does some things okay. He's a decent defender. Like he can dunk it if you get into him. They're in the dunker spot. And he has been awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic for them. He's been a huge difference maker for a team that is now up 2-0, and they did it without Chris Paul, and they are very much a real title contender. It's impressive.
No, I agree 100%. And I'll tell you what I love about Phoenix is there's some guys on that team that have some experience, but there's some young guys that have never really been in big moments, and you can tell how bad that team wants to win, right? Everyone, like whenever they're over there in the huddle, sometimes in an NBA huddle, we used to watch Westbrook walk down and sit at the end of the bench and not listen to a word anyone says. When they're in that huddle, everyone is locked in, everyone's focused, they're talking to one another, they're trying to get everything right. That's fun to watch. And that last play was awesome.
How did the Clippers not switch that? Like, why? How do you get screened in that situation? Like, it's so bad. It's like, what's the one way we can get beat? Oh,
Well,
they throw it up to the rim and dunk it.
in Batum's defense, he got bench pressed into the screen. It's not like
Little nudge.
yeah, but that was still awesome. Which, and I loved the call with Mark Jackson, Van Gundy, because I should have known this, but I didn't know that there was no goaltending on an inbounds play. That's a live basketball. So that was awesome. I still don't understand how it goes from 0.9 to 0.7 when it takes 0.3 to catch and shoot, and that's an NBA rule. But nonetheless, it was still a really, really cool play.
Yeah, so I did know the rule. Had young Cam in my arms, and I do. All dads do this. Like when you know something, you know the rule on something, then you turn to your kid and explain the rule and
Sure.
try to make yourself sound super smart, because
Yep.
the baby can't understand the words. And I was like, you know what? I was like, these guys from the Clippers, they look like idiots. They look like they don't know the rules, son. You got to know the rules.
You got to know the rules. And you tell him what a great pass it was by Jay Crowder. It was awesome.
It was an awesome pass.
Perfect.
Very well
he
executed.
just had to perfectly executed. That was awesome. The crowd shots of that arena going insane, because, I'm sure some people were sitting there saying like, that's the only thing that they can do. Maybe they thought they were going to try and get a catch and shoot with Booker or something, but it was the unexpected, and everyone just went insane. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Suns and 4
fans,
guy, he's still alive, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, Suns and 4. That guy, Suns fans, let's cool it. Stop beating people up. It was, the one video was cool. Stop hurting people. I mean, the organization had to put out a statement. It's getting so bad. That's when you
Stop
know it's
beating
legit.
up fans.
Please stop beating up fans. Okay, my loser of the week. Ted thought about going with Major League Baseball because some of these situations are, I mean, it's ridiculous. I know it's shocking when we're talking about baseball, them doing something stupid, but these the umpire checks with these pitchers where they're going out to check them for foreign substances. Maybe the best way to say it's not going well. It's not been well received by fans, by the players. Probably my favorite one was between Max Scherzer and Joe Girardi. Did you see that one? I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought Scherzer was going to pull his pants down, which would have been amazing, but they made one of the best pitchers in baseball, who has been consistently one of the best pitchers in baseball for a long time. They made an umpire check his hair. Ted, like the umpire ran his hands through Max Scherzer's hair, and
Sweaty
then
hair.
and then he wanted to fight the other team's manager because Joe Girardi was the one that told him to go check it.
Why does nobody think anything through? These are supposed to be some of the smartest people, in all of sports. The commissioners and whatever competition committees, whatever. Why are they checking a pitcher 5 innings into a game out on the mound? You check him before he starts the game. You check him between innings. Just like in football, the officials come in before you take the field and they check all the defensive linemen to make sure that they don't have any substances on their jersey that make it hard to grab or whatever, and stuff on their arms, whatever they're checking them for. They should have someone that's not an umpire, not on the field, that's over there by the dugout that makes sure that the guys aren't putting anything on. It seems simple to me that you don't do it as a show out in front of everyone and stop a pitcher's momentum in an inning. All a manager has to do, if a guy's hot, he's working fast, he's going through mowing down an order of batters. Timeout, check him. His stuff's too good, and they go out there and they kill his momentum. It's dumb.
It's exactly what happened with Scherzer, right? Strikes the guy out, runs his hand through his hair, check his head. Just
They
it's
checked him 3 times, right?
yeah, it's great for baseball, right? Keep trying to embarrass the stars. I'm sure. Oh yeah, and make the games longer too. Yeah, that's gonna work out well. But there was only one choice when it came to loser of the week, and that is the NCAA v. Alston. Ted, we are not lawyers, but that case got the old Supreme Court treatment, and I am not an expert on Supreme Court decisions, but losing 9-0 seems pretty damn bad for the NCAA. So you look at the Supreme Court ruled that the NCAA can no longer place limits on education related benefits that they give the athletes. And Brett Kavanaugh, I mean, he straight up destroyed the NCAA in his concurring opinion. I couldn't read that enough. I was like, oh my gosh, he just wants to burn this thing to the ground. He made it sound like the NCAA will lose all of these cases moving forward. But it comes down to, okay, what does this mean for the NCAA? And it sounds like it's going to be what educational equipment. There was a mention of study abroad programs, paid internships, maybe even rewards for academic achievement. I'm reading all of this going, Teddy, I was a nerd in college. I would have been rich.
Well,
Academic achievement money? You kidding me?
here's the other thing. I don't know how the NCAA has really any legs to stand on anymore, but it's there's a limit can no longer be placed on education related benefits. And one of the education related benefits is housing, right? You get a housing stipend or whatever it's called, housing reimbursement, or you get a check. If there's no limit placed on it, you can maybe give those guys as much as you want for their living check. It used to have to fall within like the average rent of a given area, correct?
That's what it
So
was based off. Yeah.
if there's no
You're
longer any
talking about like the
limits,
cost of attendance and all that stuff. Yeah. And how
sure.
they, that's why at different schools, like the check amounts are different
Hmm.
because they do a lot of math and they base it off what things cost in that area.
Right. And I know whenever I was in school, we were always talking about how much different guys got for scholarship checks for their monthly stuff. So if there's no limit based on or no limit on that stuff now, does that mean they can give them whatever they feel they deserve for room and board? I mean, I don't know what any of this stuff means. I know this, that the NCAA is backpedaling like crazy and they're on the defensive, and the landscape with the name, image, and likeness stuff with this ruling, college sports are about to become really crazy. And one more thing about the Champ U barbecue, they had a big name, image, and likeness presentation for the players about all the things that they're going to do for them there to help them grow their brand. And Lincoln came up and spoke later and said, I just want to make sure everyone in here knows this, that this rule, this new name, image, and likeness deal is going to destroy some teams in college football. It's going to destroy them. But he made the point that it's not going to destroy us because of the way that we're going to handle it. But I think that there's maybe some truth to what he's saying. I'm not saying these things are either. I think they're the right choices, but whenever you just all of a sudden open up the floodgates, there's going to be some unintended consequences, and I don't know what they are. And maybe you just deal with those and roll on. Guess you got no choice.
The study abroad trip, being able to pay for that could be sick for some football
Where would
kids.
you have wanted to go?
Well,
Italy?
I actually, and this is for a different podcast, but I actually was intimately involved in organizing a little 2-week trip to Ireland that me, Trey Millard, and Blake Bell all went on. Did that with President Boren. So we were drunk in Ireland for 2 weeks. We took a class called Culture and Sports in Ireland. Very challenging.
How
Very
was
challenging
it?
course.
Was it fun?
It was awesome. We got to play like some of the traditional like Gaelic games. We went and did some of that stuff. It was really fun. And then we got hammered every night. That's what we did.
What time of the year did you go?
We went during May, so before summer workouts.
Right after finals and
Yep.
before
In like
summer
that 2 week
workouts.
period,
That's
which
cool.
yeah, we were in really good shape for summer workouts. No, it was awesome. But that will be cool if more kids get an experience like that, because a lot of kids, get to study abroad, and that's just something that football players and other student athletes really don't get to do. Now, I love how the basketball teams now they go play over in Europe. I saw a bunch of them. A couple of years ago when we were in Italy, I saw all kinds of college basketball teams over there. But I just imagine that these kids are going to have like every Apple product for free, which doesn't really bother me. It doesn't
No,
really bother me. That's pretty sweet.
I honestly, I don't know what it means as far when they say you can't put limits on it. I don't know what that means. Does that mean here's your $15,000 check to buy what you need for school? I don't know what that means. And we'll see. We'll find
Yeah.
out what it means really quickly.
Yeah. We'll see. How bad can it be?